Peace, y'all. It's another episode of the Klyph Notes podcast. Appreciate y'all checking in, man. Excited for this episode. I had an opportunity to sit and chop it up with what would be considered a media mogul? Nah, I don't know. My guy Asa Spade, MC, connector in the city. We had a chance to sit and chop it up about P-Town media, being of service to the community, and a whole lot more. So check out this latest episode of the Klyph Notes podcast with Asa Spade. Support for the Klyph Notes podcast comes from Acapella Apparel, an idea born from a love of hip-hop, funk, and soul music and its surrounding cultures. With fashion being a huge visual part of the cultures, they've created expressive images to pay homage, invoke nostalgia, and showcase the elements that make up the lifestyle and cultures of these genres. Acapella, apparel for the music lifestyle. For more information, check out acapella.com. That's AKEPELE.com. And I said it before we turn the microphones on. This was a long time coming, Cat.
Yes, sir.
Let them know who you are.
It's your boy Asa Spade from P-Town Media. For those who don't know, if you do know, what it do?
How you been, bro?
Oh, been great, man. It's been amazing.
That's what's up, bro.
Yes, sir.
You a busy cat, man.
Yeah, you can say that.
I see you doing your thing, man. Really repping the scene. And first of all, I love that you have that heart for what you do. Just continuing to push, and support, like everybody who's doing stuff in the scene, which I think is so dope, man. So I guess off top, I was saying I feel like I remember first seeing who you were as an artist. You know, as I was out trying to get to know who was doing things in the city. You know, how could I use my platforms for folk? I think that's when I first saw your name pop up.
Awesome.
And,
okay.
But I think I kind of came in maybe on a tail end of what you were doing as an artist, because then it was like, boom, P-Town media everywhere.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. Let's talk
back.
about how things started for you. Started as an MC?
Yes.
Okay.
P.O. Soul Entertainment was the name of the company. It was a gospel entertainment company.
Okay, word.
And that's pretty much the grassroots of it. Started from 2003 all the way to the stint of maybe 2011.
Got you.
And it was something that we did for the city. You know, here at this particular time frame, gospel music wasn't really being pushed.
Yeah.
So I decided to band together with a few good friends. My music seemed to kind of be the good lead. I didn't really want to do it by myself. I'm a squad kind of guy, so I said squad up.
Yeah.
And everywhere we went, if they didn't get me, they got them.
Word.
And we just made a lot of noise. I feel like we can make more noise as a unit versus just one artist. So.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So when you say them, who all was a part of the collective?
Cicero, shout out to him, Felipe Ruiz, Second Timothy, which is Timothy Washington, Jermaine Atherton, Mark Cornell, Mike Riggins, Angel Bagley, Antoine Spencer. We had a crew.
I'm like,
deep.
dang, B. Like when you say squad
I got
up,
some
you wasn't
photographs
joking.
for you so you can thumb through as we talk about it a little
Word.
bit. But yeah, we became pretty deep by people seeing the movement, seeing us becoming a ministry.
Word.
Having a heart for God.
Word.
But also a passion for the genre, you know, and people having different talents. So people started coming to the crew saying, I can offer these talents.
Right.
And that's pretty much how we grew. That's
what's up, bro. It's you know, it's dope for me seeing this. You know, I'm an old head. You know what I mean? So came there you go. But you know, came up with a love for hip hop, but came up in the church. You know what I mean? Fairly conservative background. So family was like, she listening to. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And but felt that there was always, I mean, this platform this platform of hip hop. I mean, it was really built on reaching and expressing what was happening in your world to a larger audience.
Yes.
As well as building within the circles. And it's been cool for me to see how that's grown. You know, when we think about, you know, whether you say, you know, gospel hip hop or Christian hip hop or, you know, conscious music, however you label it. It's been, I think it's been cool to see the growth in not only the reach, but the expectations, the talent, the skill, to where not because it's you know, giving up the belief system, but recognizing that no, this is artistry.
Yes.
Like I'm a Christian and I rhyme.
And the messages is dope. And I mean, and that's what I like the most is when I've been listening to the music is that we get some good stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at least for the crews that I run around with, you talking about some regular folk.
Word up.
You know, so the stories are more realistic. Even though it's Christian music, it was gospel, it was more heartfelt because I grew up in the hood with some of these same brothers.
Yeah.
So they came from a passion of just wanting to live right, of just, you know, we made mistakes, but we just want to make some differences. You know what I mean? So I kind of connected with that. And, you know, we really decided to do that in the community. It was awesome.
Bruh.
Yeah.
This joint says Asa has over 15 albums completed. What?
Yeah. I got like 18 really, but yeah.
You put in work, bruh.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
At that time frame, we had 2 radio stations. One was sermons all day. One was music all day.
Yeah.
It was pretty much what y'all see right now from P-Town Media.
Right.
It was from P.O. Soul.
Gotcha.
But at that time frame, once we get into the story of P-Town Media, you can kind of understand because see, this story of P.O. Soul Entertainment is how P-Town Media started.
Okay.
Is the fact that imagine you're touring a town. The gentleman who created crumping, a lot of people are crump dancing. One of my best dudes out here, Roy Moore, third twin, he has a song, and he has a big snub in it.
Yeah.
And snub is crumping throughout the song. Yeah. Well, the originator of that dance music came out here, and we recorded a CD in my home in 3 days. And I toured the country with this dude.
Yeah.
But when you come to Portland, nobody knew about it.
Got you.
In other cities, most people big you up. You got your platform, you got your city backing you up. People know you, they recognize what you're doing, they support your music, they support what you're doing. In our city, because we have had our community ravaged and stripped, we are a little bit more unique than most cities. Yeah. So people come here and they be like, man, y'all don't get along, y'all don't really support one another. And yeah, we're broken. And this city was really never made for African Americans. Well, the state was never made for African Americans, let alone the city. So you can't expect them to push the genre, right? And when I say them, I would say the racist people. You know what I mean? Not the white folks who get along with the genre, who get along with us, who love us and care about us. But we're talking about the people who didn't want us in the state to begin with, right. The history of it. So when our history was not even being recorded, we have nothing to really hang our hat on at the end of the day.
Right.
So our state is a little bit more unique of a whole bunch of black folk who run around lost and really not knowing their roots. And all we can really tailor back to is the streets of Albina.
Right.
Which is why this radio station and this location, it rings such, back memories because Albina is the heart of our community here.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That's crazy, bro. So I'm not native. I've been here for 20, coming up on 25 years though.
Wow.
But the whole time that I've lived in Oregon, I've always lived out in East County, like way out. And for the most part, coming to the city to do things like shows, do things like the radio show, build with people that way. So it's cool for me to hear stories like this because I'm getting educated on the history of my people here in the state, in the city, which is super dope. It's interesting that you expressed it the way that you expressed it, because that was one of the things that I noticed when I first came here and started looking to build with the community is that there was a separation. Yeah. And that was a part of that was one of the things that I wanted to do as I was starting to build a platform for people was, I'm connecting with people from different areas of the city, use a platform to just get this artist to build with that artist. Now, obviously there are things, especially when you're coming up as a youngster, there are things that separate. Some of it is just geography. Like I don't drive and I live on this end of the city and you live on that end of the city.
Sure.
And so you have all these crews that are coming up.
And it's not even that far when you come from different places.
Right, exactly.
20 minutes is short.
Jump
30
on the
minutes
bus and
is
you
nothing.
Good. Right.
Like, that's like a Woodburn drive out here. I ain't going to Woodburn.
Exactly. But you make a very, very good point though. When it's difficult to find a place that will welcome that building, that camaraderie, that working on building community so that we can do more. Yes, that's a constant battle, a constant struggle.
Yeah.
So for what you folk did with P.O. Soul, to be able to build like that and then hear how you took that throughout the city. I mean, that's an accomplishment that should be recognized and celebrated.
Different dynamics, and this is another thing when you're dealing with Christian music.
Right.
You always dealing with stepping on the toes of those who don't believe.
Right.
So with that, you might not get your name in lights, which I never really cared about that anyway. But some of the things that we did offer to the community at that time frame was skate parties,
Yeah.
community cleanups. Um, we won awards. We was in like every award show we was doing something, or we won an award, which was cool. I mean, not to really hang accolades, but we were out here really participating. Ministry goes further than just creating music. But the deal with that is, again, when you're dealing with people who don't believe, you always run up against opposition. And I will say, doing P-Town Media and not saying I'm Christian, I haven't faced those same oppositions. And to be honest with you, though I love the church, a lot of the oppositions was in the church.
Yeah.
Because you're so radical. You want to do things that is not necessarily in the box.
Right.
So yeah, you're going to hear a lot of no's and I'm not really for sure.
Yeah.
But then when they see you do your own thing, that's when they, hey, can you come on back?
Right.
And that's kind of how the world kind of does you. You
Absolutely.
know, they hate on you, not really hate, but however it is, they disagree with what you're trying to do.
Right.
And then once they see what you're actually trying to do, because you now understand, listen, maybe I just got to do this on my own.
Yeah.
Once they finally see that, hey, why don't you come on, and then riding your coattail.
Right.
I mean, so you kind of get that in both areas. I see the same in that scenario. But what I don't see, though, is the fact of my Christian aspect, my positiveness being shunned just because somebody has a negative aura. Now, that's the spirit of principality, that type of war versus somebody not liking you. It's like walking in a room and the chick automatically just size you up and start mugging you.
Right.
She don't even know you, but it's like that spirit, you know what I mean? And that light came in the room, and it's like mom flicked on the lights. Time for school in the morning.
Right.
You like, turn that light off.
Right.
That's like kind of that glory that walked in the room of whatever God has on you. Boom. So I see both worlds, but I have to stay prayed up to be able to operate in both, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think you're right. At the end of the day, I think we do understand that it is a war. It is that there is warfare that happens. And I think regardless of what your belief system is, the one thing that you cannot deny is if you just look at what's going on day to day, you can see something is not right, that there is a spirit, that there is an element that is growing that we are all doing battle against. And I think that we find ways to fight that battle. Some of us based on our upbringing, some of us based on our studies, and some of us just based on just purely out of frustration.
Sure.
And I think that, to me, again, being an old head and where I am in my journey, I feel like a lot of what you describe doing, to me, that's real Christianity. When you talk about going through and serving people, working in the community, doing cleanups, this, that, and the third. And I think that we have, as people who label ourselves as Christians, I think that we have this sort of path that we've been told that we're supposed to follow. If you're a Christian, then you should minister. And a part of ministering is, getting out and knocking on doors and handing out tracts and this, that, and the third. And I think, there are certain people who have a heart for that. Yeah. Certain people who have been called to do that. But I think that's not the only form of ministry. Yeah. I mean, if you want to keep it 100, if you're saying you're Christian, so that means you follow the path of Christ. What did Christ do? Christ fed people. Christ healed people. Christ touched people.
Let's keep it a buck. Why hang around the people who already healed?
Word.
Let's go heal some folks. Let's be around the sick folks.
Exactly.
That's why I say you got to be prayed up. I ain't professing to be perfect, and I ain't professing to try to bring nobody back to no flock or nothing like that. But what I am trying to do is utilize the principles that I learned by doing P.O. Soul Entertainment and in the gospel field. I learned a lot of great principles about, forgiveness, about understanding. I learned a lot of great leadership skills of how to manage a flock. I had a whole bunch of different brothers with different mentalities and personalities, and with nobody getting paid.
Right.
I wasn't getting paid.
Right.
All the money was funneling back into the next CD project because nobody had money, but we all had talent. Yeah. So we came up with some clever ideas of how we can make it happen. So with that being said, that's kind of like what we're doing right now with P-Town Media, the segue to that, is the fact that we got a whole bunch of broken people, who don't necessarily understand support because they haven't been supported themselves. And though I want to be bitter at times because people don't support me and I work hard to do this when I don't get paid for this. Right. For the record, I have a full-time job, folks. Rashad here, who's here right now, Rashad White, shout out to my man who's in the building. He has a job too. Javen Harper has a job too. So we don't get paid for doing this, but we do this because we have to lead by example. Right. to show the community that this is what support looks like. People get frustrated with the other outlets, and I won't name names, but they get frustrated with the other outlets because they feel like they're not pushing the genre. But then I have to always ask the question, was that the original intent? Is that what they created for?
Yeah.
Are they created to push your genre?
Right.
Then you can't expect them to push your stuff, even though you gave them a press release.
Right.
That is not their job to put an article. You want that for swag points.
Right.
You want that for pride points to say, yo, mama, I made it in the paper.
Right.
But they don't care about that. So they care about the story. And if the story is interesting enough, they'll push it. So at the end of the day, you can't complain about that. What you have to do is get a paper towel and wipe it up yourself, meaning create you a movement and make it do whatever you want it to do for whatever you was complaining about. And that's pretty much what we did. We didn't have nobody pushing our hip-hop music. We went out of town. We won awards. We come back. Nobody cared. It wasn't in no papers. So who pushed the genre? Okay, so I found myself getting bitter at my own African-American publications and was like, man, they're not really supporting us. And I thought about it. Is that what they're supposed to do? I really feel like they tailor to a different age bracket of the African-American culture. And who am I to get frustrated about who they tailoring to when you got something for the adults? You expect them to reach the teens. No, that's for the grown folks. Yeah. That's why they tell you about the Urban League meetings and who's on the chair board of the NAACP, because that stuff is very important. But to my generation, my genre at the time frame, that wasn't what we cared about. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it wasn't for me to insult them. And that's where I had to check myself. And see, these are some of the godly aspects I bring into even the P-Town media, as of that I have to even make sure I'm spiritually in tune, because I'm dealing with a lot of different people from the community now outside of the church who will cuss you out or who will put their hands on you or who don't have the godly forgiveness. So you have to tread the streets a little bit differently than in church. So I won't get the same support like I did in church.
Yeah.
That the church is all about support. They'll have you come and perform for the kids if all fails. Right. But I can't do this type of music in the club. Right. So I tend to put the music to the side and say it's not about me anymore. And now it's about you all, Mighty, Mike Capes, and others out there, Trap Kitchen, Hannah's, Sam Thompson, Major League Promotions, other different people who are out here making the city move. And I'll take my gospel music and I'm going to just put that to the side for right now. And it'll be in the catalog, in the archive for anybody who want to listen. I felt like I've done that from 2003 till 2011. That was a cool stint to try to do some music for real. Let me let everybody else give it a shot. And let me create the platform so now somebody can big them up when they make that accomplishment.
Word up. Shout out my guy Asa. So let me say this, B. I think that I commend you for having the heart to make a move to create this platform for others. And thanks, I think that at the end of the day, we should all try to do that with whatever platforms that we have. Even as an artist who's building, some of that is taking my, the thing that I have that gives me exposure, and if I see where this might be a fit for the next man, making sure that I share it with the next man. I understand that it's a business. It's a very competitive business, and oftentimes the fear is if I put somebody else in that position, then everybody is going to attach to them, and then they're taking a spot that I could have been taking. I get that.
Sure.
But I think that's where, and now you're in the position as well to provide a platform, as I strive to do with my platforms, as DJ OG1, as Cool Nuts, as people in the city who are trying to do that. I say all that to say, keep doing music, bro.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I think that, can you not do that in the club? I mean, if you're going to tell me right now, if we heard that Lecrae was going to be in town performing at a spot, that people wouldn't show up?
I don't water down my gospel.
You know what I'm saying?
Mine's been a little bit different than Lecrae's because I'm a little bit more blunt. I'm going to say Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, these things. And it was good for the club at one point in time. I performed in the clubs out here, but then when they weren't making money because the spirit of conviction is thick, brother.
Right.
When it comes in that bar.
Right.
And a lot of the sin that's in that bar sometimes, the music will make you feel a certain kind of way. And I'm not necessarily pointing people out. I'm just talking about me.
Right.
And in the fact of pointing out my flaws, talking about how I'm wrong for what I'm doing,
right.
Somebody else in the room be like, dang, me too.
But see, this is where I feel like, we have to take control of the narrative again.
Yes, sir.
In that why do certain artists get love? Why do we celebrate certain artists? Because, well, there's a number of reasons why. But one of the reasons is because somebody who is in a position with a loud voice tells you that this is who you should support.
True.
You know what I'm saying? There are people in my circle of influence who will listen to a song for the first. I'll never forget the very first time I heard "Hey Ya," when that speaker box "Love Below" joint dropped. Right, first time I heard "Hey Ya," I was like, "Yo, this is so dope!" Right? People like, right, and then it gets played on the radio, and then you see the video, and you get hit over the head with it 75 million times. And now all of a sudden, oh yeah, this is a really good song, right? So once again, I think when we are curators, we have the opportunity to put stuff out there. And so if Asa's dropping a project, I have a platform.
Yeah,
it's on me as long as it's good music.
I'll come back to it.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just like right now, it's just a lot of work to run. P-Town Media. I've been married 20 years, man. This year, July 1st, it'll be 20 years, man, being married in the game. To Nakia Pritchard, shout out to my baby. But on the real, though, this is just what it is, folks. And take game for anybody who's listening right now. Your life is a pie, all right? Like, just think about a cake or a pie, and you have a slice. You have slices of pie. Now, each slice gets dedicated to one scenario. One gets dedicated to your family. One gets dedicated to your job. The other one gets dedicated to your friends. The other one might go to church. And these pieces of pie that you decide to say, I'm going to help out with a friend. And these are all things that are dedicated to your time. Right? So when people are asking you, hey, bro, can you help me out and do such and such? Hey, bro, can you do? I get that so much, man, from my inbox to my cell phone. But I have to tell people no a lot of the times. And it's not that I'm trying to be snooty, but it's for them to understand this. There was a time frame when I didn't understand this method and I gave people a slice of pie. Now, have you ever seen somebody get a sliver of pie and they'd be like, man, what's this? Come on, brother, I need some. Come on, if you're going to give me some pie, give me a slice of pie. Yeah. Otherwise, you can have this. Meaning, if you're going to give me some time, brother, give me some good quality time. Otherwise, you can keep your little 10, 15 minutes, homie, because I wanted to bond with you.
Right.
So a lot of the times I cannot interact myself with a lot of individuals. I can't intertwine my life with theirs, and it's nothing personally towards them. It ain't nothing about that. It's that I gotta stay focused on building this coffee table, because everybody in Portland had these wonderful trinkets that goes with the coffee table. You got a dope vase, he got a nice coaster set, he got a dope ashtray, but you have no coffee table to sit it on and say, Portland, when people come to your living room, that is a nice table. Right. That is wow, look at that vase. Now they can appreciate Mighty. They can appreciate Mike Capes. So for me, I look at things as in seasons. There's a season for summer, winter, spring, and fall. And there's a time for my music, P.O. Soul. There's a time for my family. There's a time for me to do none of this. There's a time for me to get back to it. And it's levels in life. Right. Point being is that I got to manage the pie. If you don't manage the pie, your business, your side hustle, or anything could easily become a mistress if you have a relationship. And nothing should get a bigger slice than your wife.
There you go. That's what's up. This dude up in here preaching knowledge bombs, yo. And then let me just add to this, man. To those who are trying to figure it out, and this just like you, brother. I do this for the love. God has blessed me with a 9-to-5.
This is so dope, man.
Wife and I be 25 years in September.
But
I get it, bro. Like thank you. But you're trying to give your best to everything that you're doing.
Yes,
here's the other thing that I'm learning, even at this age. As much when you put yourself in the position to build into other people, you have to remember you've got to build into self.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because if you keep pouring out, eventually you're gonna be empty.
Yes, sir.
And so you have to figure out, not I'm talking about the universal you, I speak to myself as well. You have to figure out, how do I replenish so that I can continue to give. So a message to everybody out there listening, remember, you have to build in the self. And that doesn't mean that you're not assisting or building with other people. It just means that you're just replenishing. Chopping up with my guy Asa, man, the Klyph Notes podcast. Let me do this, man. That was the foundation, and then, like I said, what I see you really putting a lot of energies into now is P-Town Media.
Yes, sir.
So off top, if people aren't familiar with P-Town Media, break it down for them.
P-Town Media is the BET of Portland. Plain and simple.
That dude said the BET
yes,
of Portland.
Sir.
Yeah.
I mean, we giving you flavor. You come to the website, everything that you see on social media gets funneled straight to the website, so you don't have to be on social media. I feel like we give a lot of these platforms too much leverage, so it's time to take some of that power back. The things that you share on Facebook and on YouTube, it comes to the website. Everything you see is shared on Facebook automatically goes to the website, so that way people can be able to enjoy the content without having a Facebook account or a YouTube account. And then when they click on the information that's on the website, it actually still keeps you on there. So now you learning about food carts, you learning about music, you learning about influential people. And I'm not just sharing like famous people. If I see a dope picture of a dad taking his son out having a good time, and he say a dope caption, I'm sharing that, because we need to see more fathers out here doing their thing with their children. So these are images. I'm just changing the narrative of how we look in Portland. The images you've seen lately, it don't necessarily be us, and a lot of folks who be fighting for us don't look like us. And that's one of the things I noticed with the Black Lives Matter movement here. And when that happened, there was nobody to talk about it. When the R. Kelly scenario happened, a lot of different conversations around the city, but let's put it into one area. So even your show, you have a channel on the website, and a lot of other individuals have channels that come right here to the website. So if you're not interested in our content, that's okay. Let's find some of the other people's content, and those stats stay of the original owner. So all your views go straight to your YouTube channels and all your links. We don't take any of that, but we definitely want to steer people to your content as well.
That's what's up, B.
Yes, sir.
In putting something like this together, man, I mean, that's a huge undertaking. One, because I know you reached out, and I think you may have reached out, but I feel like the reach out was, boom, here you are. You're a part of P-Town Media. Like, without even, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's
you pushing it, right?
Yeah.
You want people to see it,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
So let me go find some people here in Portland who's interested in that content and bring them to you.
No doubt.
No love. No questions asked. I don't want nothing in return.
Right.
See, a lot of people do things like this and they want that favor back.
Yes.
I don't do this for that favor back.
Right.
So if you don't give me that love back, it's cool. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Right.
I ain't saying that. I ain't God gonna see that. Nah, man. Listen, man, it's cool.
Yeah.
Ain't even tripping. We broken out here, bro. So if you ain't ever seen what real support look like, I'm gonna show it to you. And it's like this with no strings attached.
Well, here's the crazy thing is I feel like we that is so not the norm. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Like, so if I come to you and I say, yo, Asa, bro, I would love to have you on the Klyph Notes podcast, this, that, and the third. Okay, like, what do I need to bring? Like, what do I need to do? That? Nah, just come through. Then it's like, okay, what's the catch? Like, I know you ain't doing this just for, no, like, bruh. And I think we have to educate one another. We have to believe in the fact that, no, we can really do this to push the scene. It's not just about me. Right. You know, it's about what am I doing to build for the next man? What am I doing to really, truly try to make a difference? So that in and of itself can be an obstacle when you ask people to like see what we're doing, support what we're doing, get behind what we're doing, because that's not
if you
that's
can't
not
support
what happens.
Yourself. And see, that's it. I had this conversation with another individual, and one of the things I think I posted on there. So there's a gentleman from Texas, and he's come out here. He got some dope music, and he's pushing. And he's like, but listen, as I've been trying to network with individuals out here, I'm noticing the black community is separated. They're very selfish. They keep to themselves, and they're all about talk. You know, when you don't see no actions, it takes some time. But when you don't see no actions, you're like, dang, man, you all about talk. So what I told the brother is, I said, listen, man, when you're dealing with broken people, you're going to get broken results. Again, we're one of the only communities who had this black community ravaged to the point where we're not even around each other. So there's nobody to check. There was a time where you have a check and balance. A lot of the time, your check and balance is your people.
Yeah.
You know, you can shuck and jive some of these white folks all you want to, and they can't really tell if you're real or not. But you run that Rollo, if you don't sit down, right. if somebody ain't about something, right. And you can kind of check them, and you can kind of run that game. When the community was tight knit like that, we had it like that. My son could be walking to school, and if one of the neighbors that know our family see my son out of pocket, they checking.
Right.
But because the community ain't like that no more, our kids don't get checked. They don't really have that upbringing like we used to, so they can feel like this entitlement, like they can do what they want to do. Black families and white families, black kids can't get raised like white families because we can't get raised like white families. You know, and when that happens, that's when you start seeing some of these kids thinking they can do what they want to do. let my son have a tantrum in the stores like some of these kids do. My son knows it's not going to be no go upside the head scenario, but he knows just my voice alone will correct the scenario. That is not something I should do. And you don't always get every toy. You don't get every candy. You don't see everything you touch. So with our P-Town Media platform, we want to do more than just entertain you with music. We want to entertain you with life lessons just as well. I've been in tune with some of the pastors and people who speak some Wednesday talks and things like that. And I've been asking them to send me that content, man, because I don't want this to be just about hip hop and R&B. We are more than, that's what they always try to make us, the racist people always try to make us out to be. Entertainment and sports. Entertainment and sports. But we are so intellectual. We're so advanced. We're so technological in so many different things. We're advanced in so many areas. Let's talk about it. Let's show the world in communication with blogs and with vlogs and with other different methods of communication to show them that we out here and we are not the typical things you see on TV.
No doubt. No doubt. So if people are hearing this for the first time, hearing about P-Town Media for the first time, like what's the easiest way to plug in?
Tap in at www.ptownmedia.com. We have a chat feature on the page. You're able to leave us information. I'll get that. You can go to Facebook at ptownmedia.com and leave us a message. We're very good at doing it that way as well. DM me, Asa Spade Pritchard on Facebook. We just like to communicate, and have a good time with the community. I will say, some people say favoritism happens, and you will only see that for the businesses that decide to reach out. If you do not work with us, then if you're not reaching out to us, how can you expect? We can't reach out to everybody. It's only 3 of us, me, Javen, and Rashad White. And we got 2 TV shows we're working on. We're working on Masha Vu's TV show called the Rose City Gumbo Show as well on the side. We have run a website. We have a clothing T-shirt store that's about to open, so we're about to drop some merch now. We got so many different things outside of the norm. Unfortunately, we can't be in tune with everything. But if your information is public and there is a share link on your things that you post, then we're going to be able to share it to our people. If your stuff is private and there is no shared link, you expect us to copy and save the picture, and unfortunately, we might not be able to do that. And then that bogs down our cell phones with a lot of information and photographs. So make our job easy. If you want your stuff to be shared, make it public, and we'll easily share it on all our platforms for you to let everybody know about your events.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Chopping up with Asa Spade. So I want to come back.
Yes,
I want to come back and touch on that here in just a sec, man. Yep. But real quick, man, you mentioned the clothing line, and I have to give a quick shout out to a group that's been supporting the Klyph Notes podcast for a time now. Acapella Apparel, local apparel company, and they just put out dope. They just put up dope content in terms of their clothing. Wintertime, they got some dope hoodies and beanies, and I know that they're bringing back the original Acapella t-shirt design that's available right now. You can check them out at acapella.com, Acapella Apparel, acapella.com. That's AKEPELE.com, clothing for the music generation. So I want you to talk a little bit more about people who talk about favoritism, because I think that I just want you to just start with that. So how have you been sort of approached about favoritism?
Certain brands, sometimes they feel are not highlighted as much or not highlighted at all. That could be for a couple of fashions, a couple of reasons. One, we have not been outreached by that brand. It could be that brand does not have marketing material, so they're not posting any logos or any deals or specials that we can actually take and share. Sometimes we do take and share photographs, even though I said we don't like to do it. We will, if it's something that's that we deem is going to be important for us to share. And so that happens, and then what happens is sometimes we'll kind of back up from some individuals. And here's the deal. We love our individuals, but sometimes there are shenanigans on social media that occur that some people decide to mix their brands with their personal lives. And some of the things they do in their personal lives is not some of the things I want to push on my brand.
Right.
And I say my brands because I'm a part of this. I'm doing this work. But in all actuality, this is for us. However, there are some things, and some people move in the community a certain way that's negative. And I don't want to seem like I support that. So I don't push that. That's why you don't see me really push politics on the website, because There's a lot of views sometimes, even coming from the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, that I don't really side with. So for me to not get into arguments publicly, I just choose not to push that rhetoric and let it be. So some brands, if you're out here, that just take a note. If you're doing things out here in your personal life, try not to let that reflect in your personal businesses, because a lot of folks don't move like that. All the N words and all the cussing and all the B's this and the H that, but you got a food cart, or you got a mobile company, or you got a hair brand, or you got a t-shirt shop, or you got a whatever. So I'm not pinpointing nobody. This is to everybody. If your brand is out here, being disrespectful to the community, I'm not gonna push it as much. Am I gonna disbar you from the website? Depends on what you do. But, I still push some people that I felt done that type of stuff in the community. I still keep their banners up. I still keep pushing their brands, because it's not a hateful thing. It's just that I'm not pushing everything now. So somebody reached out to me in a DM and asked me, seem like you're showing favoritism, and why don't I see this brand? And I just had to be honest with them. It's not. Before you reach out to us and say, why don't we do? How about ask, you know what? I haven't seen this. Do you do? Versus coming at us that way. If you want to set the tone positive, then create a positive communication atmosphere first, because you asking the question first. Remember, you dealing with some real individuals, and I'm 100% real. I'm not going to give you attitude. I'm not going to give you flack. I'm going to be always polite in customer service, but I don't get paid, so you will get checked. One love.
Well, and here's the situation, man, because I think that a couple things. I think, one, we have to remind ourselves, just as a human race, ignorance is not cool, and we celebrate ignorance, right? So
yes, sir.
we get in, we get into situations where we just want to show out, we want to turn up, whatever, and it's at the end of the day, it's just ignorance. Early on in this conversation, you talked about, and understand, man, everything I do is for everybody. But we're talking, today we happen to be talking about movements that are really to support and grow the Black community, and within the Black community, when we get together, yeah, we like to enjoy one another's company and this, that, and the third. But I think you also have to be very cognizant of who your audience is.
Yes, sir.
And if you want your audience to be the Black community, but then beyond, because you're really trying to grow whatever it is that you're doing, then I think you have to remember, you're not going to go to your job and act crazy on your job if you want to keep your job, right?
Right.
If a Fortune 500 company comes to you and says, "Hey, we want to hire you. We're gonna create a situation. You can do whatever it is that you want to do, and we're gonna pay you X." Then you're gonna take advantage of that, and you're going to not do anything that would put that company in a bad light.
That's right.
Because by putting the company in a bad light, you're putting your own situation in a bad light. Because if you act out of pocket, you're gonna lose that check. And I think what we have to remember as human beings, not just as Black people, that ignorance is not cool, man. We're supposed to be the higher species, man, and sometimes we just don't act like it. Specifically to, I think, and I typically don't get like this so much in the podcast, but I think certain things need to be said. I think specifically as the Black community, we have to remember that beyond the spiritual fight, there is physical warfare that's going on.
Yes, sir.
When we look back historically, there were movements that were about supporting one another. Doesn't make any sense for me to fight you as another Black man when I realize that both of us are fighting the same fight against other people who want to take our lives or want to take our livelihoods. Doesn't make no sense. That's ignorant. It's ignorant for me to shoot down my brother man while there's somebody else who's trying to shoot us both down. So we have to rise above that.
It's ignorant to shoot down your brother, period, because that white man love hip-hop just like that Black man do. And if both of y'all was stranded somewhere, that white man would help you out just like that Black man would. So I try not to get too Afrocentric, but I do have to get us to understand that it's a reason why I'll mug you first before I be cool with that white man. Because the issue is that we were taught to hate ourselves. So when we look at ourselves in the mirror, it's a reflection about something about us. It's an identity crisis that we have a struggle with. There's something about ourselves that we don't like. So when we see somebody that look like us, we tend to flare up at them too, because I don't like what I'm looking at all day anyway. Right. So if that's what I'm supposed to be like, when I see that, I'm gonna interact more positive with that. If that's what I'm told, if I'm supposed to be like this, more fair skinned, then I'm gonna be cool with all the fair skinned people. Right. I mean, that's just the way it is, and it's unfortunate because there's a deal when being out in the East County, like you said, where the black folks won't speak to each other. Mm-hmm. You'll see a black person, they'll just walk right past you. People in the hood like us, we look at them like you being snooty or high sedity. But sometimes they just don't come from that. That's just not, you know what I'm saying? And we don't understand, a lot of the folks that live in East County ain't from Portland, because a lot of these big corporations hire them and they live out there, like Nike, the places they live out in Beaverton and all that. So they don't really see, they don't, and whatever city they coming from, they have a mentality that they ain't, hey, how you doing? They're not like that everywhere, you feel me? Just because you're in the suburbs, you know? Right. So we have to understand that too, being in the hood, that it ain't like that too. So there's a major disconnect. And I found that out being at the sneaker ball, that a lot of the folks from Nike, they don't really know nothing about the black community here. And so it's wonderful that you do what you do and others to show that, yo, we out here.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, let me ask you this to sort of look at the other side of it. So once again, I'm not native. I moved here from the South. But prior to the South, I lived in the Northeast. So I've been blessed to have the experience of living in a number of different just a number of different environments. And not even just when we talk about the black community here in Portland, but just living in the Northwest. Just a different animal from living in the South or living in the Northeast. Sure. So we live in a state where the African American community is such a small percentage. And as you mentioned earlier, mm-hmm. We're learning more and more. I'm learning more and more that this state was built specifically with the idea. Like, it blew my mind, bro. Like, on one hand, you think, oh, that's cool. Like, there was no slavery in Oregon. Well, there was no slavery in Oregon because they ain't want no black people in Oregon, slave or not.
There was slavery in Oregon when it first started.
Okay.
And it only lasts for, I think it was 3 months it was. Okay. After 3 months, you could be set free. But once you set the slave free, they had to leave the vicinity. If they ain't leave the vicinity, they'll be publicly flogged. Go to P-Town Media. Go to the Portland History page. I'll make sure I put it up there tonight. It's the OPB Portland history segment that they did, and it goes so deep into the black history. It's telling you how during the Oregon Trail, there's a black lady up on there. There's so much history that was lost. Yeah. That there was slavery here just for a brief moment though, but there was a little bit.
So then now, being in a city where there are so few black people, how do we as a culture, how do we as a community move forward, supporting one another, and what do we do with the support that comes from people who don't look like us?
Two things. That's a two-part question. The first, the answer is easy, but the transition is very difficult. Mm-hmm. Being in gospel music, the answer is to forgive. When you're able to forgive, that means you're able to forgive yourself for the mistakes you made. You're able to forgive the mistakes for your brother. You're able to forgive the way he treated you. You're able to forgive the way you're treating him. You're able to say, you know what, at this particular moment, let's make anew and let's move forward. It's going to take some godly principles to be instilled into our community to make this happen. The harsh reality is that biblical shows that's not going to happen. Times only gets worse as we move forward. So hope for what? Well, times can change if you let it change. The story don't have to be what it is. It's going to be doom and glory all the way through. Not unless you want it to be. I know if all of us decide to squad up, we can make some change. That's all I'm saying. And I mean, I don't have the answer for everything, but I just know power in numbers, power in multitude, and power in people. And that can do a lot, man. That can blow a person up. That can blow a brand up. That can make a millionaire. That can make a successful attorney. That can make a whatever, because people back that up and get behind that. It's when we do our own things and nobody support each other and nobody gets behind something. It's a countdown for each black business. As soon as you put black on it, it's an expiration date.
So maybe I didn't ask the question correctly. To just be blunt, there are people who are not black who want to support people who are black. And I think that, again, it's very easy to, look at situations like that sideways and wonder, okay, like what's the rub? And sometimes it's a matter of just accepting someone who's in a position to help you.
That's true. I can see that.
And I think sometimes we get in our own way because I think it's very easy because of all of the pain that we have experienced. But I think we also have to understand, and this is where it's difficult for me to separate the life that I live here on this planet Earth and my spiritual belief. Sure. If in fact there is a heaven, there ain't only gonna be black people in heaven.
That's right.
And for all of y'all conservatives out there, there ain't only gonna be white people in heaven. So at some point, if someone is offering me a platform, bruh, you know, this radio station that offers me Welcome to the Neighborhood and allows me to record Klyph Notes here, it's not like it was a whole bunch of black people that came together to do
That's
this.
right.
But I've been given this platform.
That's right.
So if I utilize that to help whoever's in my circle of influence on a bigger stage in a city where, yeah, there are a lot of people who still feel some kind of way about you and I just because of the tone of our skin.
Right.
On the flip side of that, there are people who are like, it's not about that. Like, I don't understand your plight, but I want to help because I feel within my heart that it's the right thing to do.
There's nothing to help with, unfortunately. It's just an internal thing. It's like you don't help with other people's marital problems. You know, you don't help with their family issues. You console and you sympathize. Maybe offer suggestions depending on who it is and how you got that kind of relationship, but you really don't help with that. So unfortunately, this is a black problem. We got to learn to support ourselves. We got to learn. We've been damaged. Racism done a lot to us, man. And then being in the state where they ain't want us to be in the first place kind of sucks. And then when you start finding out more history about yourself as the years go on, as you go on, because either family secrets or stuff is being uncovered as the years go on, it starts to become embarrassing as you be like, dang, all these years I didn't know. And you kind of don't have a sense of belonging anymore to some sense. That's why a lot of people still rep the NEP when you don't see the hood here. It's because that's all they know. This is what they still holding on to, Quickies and Cragos and Killingsworth and, you know, Franklin's and Brandles, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, the SWAT meet, you know, we hold on to those things, man, that was dear to us that they stripped. It's only a matter of time. And now we stop caring about a lot of stuff. So now next time we strip something else, ain't gonna be no emotional attachment to it. You take what you want to take, and that's why I feel like this community of P-Town Media, of Supportland and Newportland is more so outside of the buildings. It's more so you could take our communities, you could take these buildings and these houses, but you can't take us as a multitude. We still find a way to connect. We still find a way to unite, you know, and other brands, and that's why I got love for Sam Thompson and La Lou and Alan Bell and a host of other people, you know. Black Mannequin and a whole host of other, Wavy Boy, and don't let me forget nobody else. I apologize if I have. It's because we all decided to click together. And that's why you may see a little bit more of other brands push, is because they're like, look, man, I'll give you a hat. I don't know how many times I ask people to give me stuff to put on my bar for my TV show. So if if you got a brand, a product, a seasoning, a shampoo, conditioner, T-shirt, hat, I mean, come on, man. Golf balls, whatever you got. Rubik's Cube. What you got, fam? Shoot that to me. Inbox me, Asa Spade on Facebook, and I'll put that on my bar. So every show I do, and then I got stuff I can tap to. Hey, and make sure you check out. Hey, and make sure you tune into. And look at this song right here. Make sure you listen to. I like to do that every show to give everybody love. So if we gotta work on us, and the white folks can just support the vibes. We gonna put the vibe out there. We see that now. Everybody's solo. But they gonna put that stuff out there so everybody can support it.
Let me offer this as well. I think that's cool, but I think the other thing to do is remember that, and I tell people this all the time, man. With the stuff that I do, It's bigger than music. So that's yeah, true. It's cool, absolutely. Exchanging of materials and this, that, and the third. Folk used to ask me, how can you run with Star Child, man? Now, understand, I'm not native, so I built with Star.
That's bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But a lot of people didn't feel that way.
Sure.
And it's whatever. That's whatever. The reason I bring him up is Star was on my radio show often. Star invited me to be a part of Mic Check. one of the reasons that I connected so much with Star is because I would get a phone call from Star, not asking for anything. I would get the phone call, yo, bro, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the thing that we have to understand. If we're talking about coming together, don't just come at me with some, what can you do for me? You have a platform. How come you're not playing? And that's kind of what I was getting at when you were talking about people talking about you're pushing one over the other.
Sure.
You know, sometimes it's not that I'm pushing one brand over the other. You just broke it down, man. You got P-Town Media is not your 100%. You got a life.
Yeah.
So if I'm in your ear, not just on some, what can you do for me today, and then you're not pushing my stuff, and now no.
Yep.
Like, if I'm building with you, if I'm just shooting you a text, hey, what up? That's building community. Obviously, I'm going to push
for 5 years and never asked OG for nothing. So everything you saying is like, oh wow, so yeah.
Right. But I mean, but the point being is, it's if you really want to, if you say you want to build, and whatever comes, let it come organically.
Sure.
I'm not doing this only because I'm trying to get on. I'm doing this because I care for my brother, man. And again, to me, that's about changing the narrative, Cat.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, whatever you're doing right now, you may graduate from that. And if the only connection that we have is that thing,
then it wasn't even a genuine relationship.
Exactly.
Never was.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah.
So I think I hope that that's something that we can continue to do as a community. I think when you look at other successful communities, whatever it be, whether it be music, business, whatever sort of a relationship, any sort of a relationship, the only way that relationship grows is if you build into it. And I think that's one of the things that we can all do better at. And we have to learn how to do better at, because a lot of us, we didn't have that education for whatever reason. We didn't learn, we didn't know how to build into one another. And I think that's to a certain degree why we sort of build in our own little pockets. But we can change that now. The age of the stinking internet, we can change that now. We can reach out, shoot me a text on Facebook, not on some, just like hey, yo, you crossed my mind, just saying what up.
Yeah.
Boom.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's how I had my relationship with OG1. I've been friends with him for years, but when I was deep into my gospel music movement, I would just call him and just crack jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want nothing, and then he kind of found it offended. Like 5 years later, he was like, "Yo, man, you ain't never asked me for no mixtape. You don't like my stuff, man." And I was like, no, I just know everybody be on you, and everybody really want to take advantage of your movement, and I'm just looking for the right time or looking for the right opportunity to do it. But I said, honestly, that wasn't why. I just wanted to be your friend, man. Mm-hmm. And that's how we became brothers, over the years, where it was no longer a friendship, where I actually intertwined my life with OG. So for those who've asked me plenty of times, how you be friends with, man, that's cool, that's so cool. Well, now y'all see how I became friends with the Portland Trailblazer DJ. Mm-hmm. Years ago, I reached out to him when I was doing some community work with it, SEI. I tapped into him, and I just got his information from there and offered, just a conversation with him, like how y'all pop out a lady for just conversation. Well, I didn't want to pop, of course, that ain't what I do, but hey, yo, bro, I would love just to chat with you, pick your brain. Mm-hmm. I know iron sharpens iron. So like you said, networking skills. And when we brush up on those things, we can have some decent conversations, and our lives can mesh, and wonderful things can come out of that.
No doubt. Let's talk about support a little bit, because oftentimes I try to really utilize social media to create as a creative, but you do sort of absorb what you see on social media, and you see people calling out, people aren't supporting whatever. What does that mean? Like when you think of support, not even just for P-Town Media, when you think about support, because I feel like there's a lot of different ways that we can support one another. And I think that we're, depending on where we are in our lives, there are different ways that we can do that. But someone would say, "Look, Asa, I heard the interview. I'm so behind what you're doing. I want to support." What does that mean?
I would say like and follow the page. That way, you're constantly able to see new content coming through, or you're able to have a choice to like or share. And then it's up for the people to, how they look at success, how they look at support themselves. Some people you just can't please. Mm-hmm. So even if I shared it, but you didn't tag me, okay, so it's always something. I would say, as people, if we cannot be so sensitive and not expect so much for the other people, I mean, push your own stuff and then allow the other people to support in any way they can.
Right.
When you do it that way, it makes it a little bit more of a easier transition versus you not really pushing your own stuff, but then you're expecting that person, but you ain't sharing my stuff. Well, you don't even push your own stuff, man. So, I mean, I think it got to be a two-way street there.
No doubt. I had Versatile in for an episode of Klyph Notes, and he said something that rang so true to me because Verse and I are, well, I don't put this. I'm an old head, and Verse was saying, a lot of times people kind of look at you sideways. It's like, man, you don't come to my shows, this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
Oh, bruh, I got to get up in the morning and go to do my 9 to 5 and understand that I can't always be there present. But like you said, I can share the things that you're putting out there. I can like the things that you're putting out there and understand that, like, I'm doing that because I care about what you're doing and I want to help support and promote what you're doing. Accept that, understand that's actually a thing, man, and embrace that.
Yeah.
Embrace the support however it comes. And I love what you said earlier. If you feel like then just reach out. I'm all over social media. Just one of the platforms. Hey, just reach out.
And reach out positive.
Exactly.
If you didn't see it, look at the positive intentions first. Well, you didn't do. I noticed you ain't been. Just say, hey, I haven't seen. I was curious if you've been doing.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I missed it, bro. Maybe I'm tripping.
Right.
But did you post my flyer, bro?
Yeah.
I mean, try to set the positive tone first. I mean, that's always the best way. When we think ill of each other first, you're always going to create a negative tone for the conversation. But I got to set a apology right now. A lot of people see Trap Kitchen, Rip City Tacos, and a few others up on my page, and I have never been there. I've never been to Trap Kitchen. Mikey Vegas, I'm sorry. Flavor Mo, you my bro. Both of y'all my bros, and I apologize, you know what I'm saying, for not getting there, but I do the best I can to support y'all brand by sharing, even though I ain't been there. So with that being said, for the people who see me support them as much and know that I have never been there, and you maybe have seen me at your event or have not, one, I'm going to say I'm sorry if I haven't made it to your event. And if I have made it to your event, then you should feel special. Because I haven't even been to one of the major brands that's been supporting us since day one. Yeah. And I haven't even been to their shop to try their food, but I'm always sharing their content. So, I mean, it goes both ways. So.
It does, but bruh, it goes back to what I said. And I know I'm putting my joint on you, but if you have a relationship, if they've reached out to you, you guys, that's community.
We talk all the time.
That's
I just haven't
community.
been there.
That's community.
That's why I probably haven't been there, because we talk so much either via I'm going to a concert or we're always seeing each other somewhere.
No doubt. All right, so we're recording this the first part of March 2019. We're getting into spring and summer. Any major things that you have that you can speak on right now that you got planned for the later this year?
Dropping a t-shirt store.
Okay.
So we're gonna have merch. P-Town Media shirts got a lot of different flavors, designs, styles for people. The shirts is going to be starting off at a crazy price, $17.95 t-shirt.
Okay.
The full order altogether coming from our factory is going to be $24.95, I believe, for the t-shirt at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're not getting it made from some off-site place. We're actually partners with the Remix Pros. The Remix Pros is a print shop located in Las Vegas, created by an individual who moved from Portland years ago to Las Vegas, and created this brand and decided to connect with us. They've been seeing everything we've been doing and decided to give us an opportunity to create t-shirts. Yeah. With that, we're going to have a t-shirt that's going to be going towards a billboard that we've been trying to raise money for. So we're raising money for this billboard because this is going to be the first icon in the community to say this is something that we did. Yeah. FUBU, y'all. For us, by us. You dig? So even if you put in $1 or $2, it's something that you can look at and be like, yo, that's my billboard.
Right.
I could hit up some businesses and we can all go in on it, but it's better if the community have the opportunity to sow too. We got the boat party. We bring it back with Sam. Working with Sam again to create bring the shows back, which was the Active Fool and the Hood Family Feud, and a few other things that's going to be going on in the community. So those are some of the things that I've been working on, and we're going to keep doing a TV show. We got Rashad White coming with the music video show.
Oh, that's what's up.
In April, we dropping that. So this is going to be like, remember Kodiak and I? Well, Kodiak and Octavius had a music video show back in the day where they played a lot of just the Bay Area and local music videos. Right. Well, we ain't going to the Bay. We keeping it right here in P-Town.
Word up.
So Rashad gonna be introducing y'all to a lot of the good flavor for a 30-minute show of videos, no commercials.
That's what's up, man. In terms of the television stuff that you do, how do people tap into that specifically?
There's a couple ways. You can hit us up on a DM. If you have your own show, you can submit your information to us. YouTube is the best way to do it because we want you to keep your own stats and your own statistics of people who are viewing your shows. So if you have that, send that to us. We'll create a channel for you. We're not really biased on, content as long as it's not too vulgar. We try not to show the naked ladies and and stuff, nudity and stuff like that on it. So if your music videos got a lot of that, probably won't be on our website, unfortunately. But anything else that you got going on, we pretty much are open to it. If you do make some cannabis stuff, let's not be irresponsible with it. If you're going to make some cannabis content, we're looking for some educational stuff. It's been a negative stigma on our communities. I got family members who've been arrested for it, man, probably still in jail for this stuff. So let's educate the community of how cannabis can help. So if anybody got a show for that, that's some good content. Inbox us and we'll put it on the website as well.
That's what's up. Wow, dude. Like I said, this was a long time coming, and you have your hands in so many different things, and you're touching so many different lives here in the city. I'm grateful, bro. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, I'm grateful man. I'm looking at the Portland, the PTownmedia.com page right now, man, and I see it right there, Klyph Notes, DJ Klyph. You know what I'm saying? I see pics from the show that the benefit show we did for Anthony Sanchez. Bro, I mean and you just do that for the love, bro. So I just want you to know how much I appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. And through my channels, Klyph Notes, Welcome to the Neighborhood, the stuff that I'm doing, you definitely have my support, man. For real.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. My guy, Asa Spade, Klyph Notes. Be sure once again to follow ptownmedia.com and let's continue to build positive, man. Positive vibes only. That's really what we are about. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man. Blessings.
Absolutely. Blessings to you, my dog. Once again, man, thank you so much for catching the Klyph Notes podcast. Remember, it's available everywhere you listen to your podcast, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Tap in wherever you check out podcasts, man. And then if you do rock with us on Apple Podcasts, we encourage you to rate and comment. That goes a long way in what we're trying to do. If you rock with Alexa, you can just ask Alexa to please enable the Klyph Notes podcast, and you'll get updates every time we drop a new one. You can check out the DJ Klyph YouTube page, and we are live streaming this one right now. You get to see some video of the artists that we have in, so you can check in that way as well. If you have questions or comments, you can hit us up on the email that's Welcome to the Neighborhood. It is Klyph Notes at gmail.com. Klyph Notes, KLYPH notes at gmail.com. Remember, you can catch me every Saturday night on X-Ray FM. Welcome to the Neighborhood, playing the very best from the Northwest and worldwide. Big ups to X-Ray FM for allowing us to record the Klyph Notes podcast right here in the X-Ray FM production suite. Once again, shout out to Acapella for their continued support of the Klyph Notes podcast. Shout out to Cascade Record Pressing and Ear Trumpet Labs for their support of Mic Check. The March edition of Mic Check is going down on the 28th. You have an opportunity to see Cool Nuts, DJ Fat Boy, along with Samuel the First, K Wayne. My guy Solomon is coming in to do a beat set, and our house DJs Trox and DJ OG1. That's going down at the White Eagle Saloon. April the 6th, we're doing a very special fundraiser for X-Ray FM. It's Mic Check and a Beat Happening coming together to bring you a dope event that's going down at the Mission Theater on April the 6th. And last but definitely not least, big ups to my guy Theory Has It for doing the official theme song to the Klyph Notes podcast. All right, y'all. Once again, thank y'all so much for checking us out, man. We love you. God bless. Until we have an opportunity to do this again. Peace. Peace.